try. And
okay,
I
I
feel
see what
bad
you're
for him.
doing here. You're trying to stop the man, the myth, the legend from coming on here. And
Oh, here we go. No,
I know what
missed
you're
him.
doing. Hey, Joe Biden, you're not
Oh, here we
that
go.
good at what you do here either, okay? Hang on here.
I
Philly.500
forgot about Philly.500 because he doesn't show up that often anymore.
Oh, well, wait a minute. He has a job during this time.
Oh, and
He has obligations.
The black guy is just unemployed.
I never signed a contract saying I'll come every Wednesday like Mark Holmes did.
Oh, wait. So
I'm
the
not
black
under
guy is
contract,
unemployed
Mark
and
Holmes.
just sitting around waiting.
I ain't under contract.
Look at him, mate. Look at him, Philly.500. Look at him add that in, just like everybody
I'm just asking.
else.
You said he has a job he has to go to.
But why did it have to go to the black guy thing? Who said that?
I'm just saying. No, wait. You're like, well.
By the way, I always thought you were Middle Eastern.
Oh, Lordy. You know what? I'm American, man. I'm an American mutt, man. I got a little bit of everything from Irish, Indian, black. Who knows what else I got in me? I'm just an American mutt. How about
you
that?
You awesome here, man. All right.
All I did was
how you doing, Philly? I haven't seen you in a long time.
I come on the channel. Look how worked up this guy gets already. I didn't even say nothing, and he's already going at me because he's so nervous.
Why does he make you so nervous, Mark?
Make me nervous?
Yeah.
No,
come on.
No, I just get excited because I'm just used to seeing so much energy from Philly.500. I'm just trying to match it with him. The
thing is I've heard people have told me lately Mark Holmes has gone off the deep end. He has gone crazy, is what I'm hearing. What has been going on with you the last few days? You're going nuts. You're making 80 videos a day. You're taking 12-hour breaks. What the hell's going on, Mark?
No. I tell you what, I have to say that this offseason has been like the Sahara Desert. It's like it's nothingness. It's all sand. And every so often you think you see something. Oh, my God. Is that a contract signing? And it's a mirage. Oh, my God.
For us.
Is that a
we got
I know what it was. You were in mourning because the president may have been killed.
We've been drinking.
Okay. We'll stay away from politics and all that here. I got enough shit to deal with the Cowboys and Jerry Jones.
We've been drinking all off season. Eagles, plenty of water. No Sahara here.
But I am just happy that come this time next week, my team will be on the field so we can be talking about practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Wait, was that the playoff noiser?
No.
Listen, Mark, I think Mark is actually nervous.
We sitting here. I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about.
I don't know why he does this all the time.
Does what?
See, I think Mark is nervous about the season beginning because he's out of excuses. There are no more excuses.
Hold.
Dak Prescott, he don't have this. He don't have that. He don't have a contract. Oh, Dak Prescott,
in other words,
my poor baby doll. Let me rub your toes, Dak. Come on, it's
all to Philly's point, though. To Philly's point, do you think Jerry Jones is tanking this season?
I don't know what they're doing, to be quite honest. Now, there are some rumors. There are some rumors out there that Michael Thomas and
you ready?
What? No, that they're bringing him in for a workout on Friday.
How about this? They've contacted Duke.
They've cut who?
Somebody in the organization of the Cowboys has contacted Duke Tobin.
Okay.
Of the Bengals about the availability of T. Higgins.
So wait a second. Why? So you're saying if they're going to go after T. Higgins, then bye CeeDee Lamb is what you're saying, right?
No.
How are you going to get both?
An extra weapon.
Because he's right now on a franchise tag deal. Yeah, he's got $14 million.
Holding out, right?
What? He signed the franchise. No, he signed the franchise tag deal. And he's
CeeDee Lamb's holding out, right?
CeeDee Lamb is holding out.
So if you can't even take care of your own wide receiver, how are you going to go get somebody else's wide receiver?
The funny thing is
cost them $14 million this year. The other guy's going to cost them $35 million.
The one thing I'm worried about.
Hey, Philly, I don't know if they get that. It'd be hard for me to believe that Jerry's not going to re-sign his own guys.
Yeah. Here's the thing. we all go through the same stuff every time when it comes to a contract. You know, the Cowboys were going to get rid of Zeke. They were going to get rid of D-Law and so on. They get them done. They like the drama. They love the drama. We were here last year with Zach Martin.
Great.
People were talking about, Zach Martin, he could be traded. The Cowboys, as much as I hate it, it's about making as much noise as possible. They'll get CD signed. They may wait until later on to go ahead and get Dak, just to go ahead and save some more cap room later on. If it's done after November, then
this
it's
is like talking about the Osborns.
Beautiful. This is beautiful.
Sign them all. You know what, Dan? That's why you have me on here.
No, it's like the Osborns. It's like the Kardashians. It's like the Dallas Kardashians. I mean, criminy, can we talk football ever with that team? Or does it have to be the drama, hey, they like to talk. Dude, how about winning some ball games?
Well, we did win 12 the last 3 years. We have beat the Eagles a couple of times, I believe. I think we beat them a couple of times. I get it. It's about the playoffs and stuff. But here's the thing right here. As my son says that, Mark's running out of excuses. Well, if we listen to everybody out there, we should just suck. There shouldn't be any expectations for the Dallas Cowboys, right? The coaches.
Well, I'm not specifically talking about the Dallas Cowboys.
Players, they don't bring in anybody else, so there shouldn't be any expectations. If the Cowboys win 8 games, they should be praised because they suck so bad.
I want to ask Philly.500 this question, and then I want you to respond with yours too. Here, what NFC quarterback is under the most pressure in 24? Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. I was going to throw Purdy and Golf in there, but why don't we just do those two because of the 2 people we have now? What NFC quarterback is under the most pressure in 24? Dak or Jalen, Philly?
I would say Dak. I mean, you're talking about 9 years. You're talking about 9-year career, right? He's 9 years in the league and has not won anything in the playoffs. At some point, the regular season stats don't matter. What he does to me doesn't matter. It's what he does in the playoffs. And right now, Dak Prescott is labeled a guy that cannot win a big game. So to me, with a guy who's trying to get a new contract with a team that has him going into 9 years, he has to be under more pressure. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts doesn't have pressure, but you can't tell me that Dak Prescott is still not – it's not more of a pressure type season for him. And if you are willing to say that, then what you're saying is that it's okay and that the Dallas Cowboys and their fans accept losing. And they're perfectly okay with losing. So Mark, I think Dak is.
Okay. I hear your answer on that. But here's the thing for Dak Prescott. You say, is there more pressure on him than Jalen Hurts? The reality is Dak Prescott knows I'm going to get paid big time unless something catastrophic happens. That literally my leg is taken off. Be it with the Cowboys or be it with another team. I can guarantee you that the Raiders would back up the Brinks truck to have him in there, especially since they don't really have a quarterback. And
to your point, Mark, if you give Kirk Cousins $48 million, you're going to give Dak Prescott
can I say something?
Wait, let me finish now. Let me finish my argument. Because, see, now here's the thing. We know how you Eagle fans are. As you always put it, we don't put up with mediocrity. We will get rid of somebody, even if it's a coach that's won the Super Bowl. If you don't fall in line, you're out of here. And if you have Jalen Hurts have a bad season after having one great one in his career, now all of a sudden you start looking and saying, was that year the exception or was that the rule? So he's definitely under pressure here too, because they've moved on. They've got now supposedly the boy genius as far as offensive coordinator. He's got a team unlike the Cowboys, because we can look at the Cowboys and say, shit, they haven't even signed their number 1 wide receiver. You guys have 2 wide receivers that are paid in the top 10. You got one of the better tight ends. You've got a great offensive line. And you look at that and say, you have everything. If you don't succeed and evolve into more of a pocket quarterback, then you're going to be labeled as to that guy who kind of was a running quarterback that was kind of a gadget guy.
Yeah, but you know what? I got to say this. your barometer for success is, well, Dak Prescott's going to get paid anyways. You're worried about what he's going to get paid, what he's going to make. I'm worried about wins. We're worried about winning. Who cares about how much money or what brings trucks going to get backed up?
Okay,
what
then
about
let me ask this
winning a Super Bowl? You can't tell me
Your
Dak
guy hasn't won one yet.
Playing double the amount of time he's played in this league and has won nothing. You can't tell me there's no pressure. If there's no pressure on him to win, because it's not about winning, it's about him getting paid, then he truly is a loser. And Jalen Hurts, it's about winning. You got to go out and win. And that's what we care about. I don't care how much.
I hear what you're saying.
Mark, wouldn't you agree, Mark?
Winning.
Wouldn't you agree that more pressure is on Jerry, because what you just said, it's actually now this year irrelevant if Dak wins or not, because here's why.
He's a loser.
Quarterbacks don't get paid on winning Super Bowls. They get paid on numbers.
Yeah.
Every one of these quarterbacks, no one's going to tell me that Trevor Lawrence has been paid because he's winning Super Bowls. He's 0-1 in the postseason. There's only one guy in the top 10 that has a winning record in the postseason, and that's Mahomes. No, Mahomes and Burrow are the only two that have wins. So, at the end of the day, Dak's in really the catbird seat here. You either fucking pay me or you don't. I'm going to go somewhere else. You see, Cousins just got $50 million. He's 37. I'm going to make $55 million out there.
Yeah, no, and
Cowboys, Jerry's got a lot of pressure because winning's not going to matter on Dak's case. We're over for Jalen. Jalen Hurts, there's no question. He has to win. Or guess what they're going to say? You know what they're going to say? It was a one-year wonder.
You know what? The Eagle fans hold their guys to higher accountability.
Which is why he's under more pressure.
I don't care about Dak Prescott, how much he gets paid. I care about my guy winning. And that's why Dak Prescott, every year he goes in the playoffs and stinks and chokes, they make excuses for him. So I think the priorities of that question are different. He's worried about what Dak Prescott's going to get paid. I'm worried about whether my guy's a winner. So you got a team in the Eagles that are worried about winning, and you got a Cowboy team that would rather get paid and lose.
And there's actually two other questions, Mark, to that point. There's actually two other questions to what he just said. You're also worried about money with Parsons, and you're also worried about money with Lamb. That's got nothing to do with winning, really. I mean, your off-season issues has been, what bag of money are these guys going to get? Whereas in Philly, these guys are trying to put the chess pieces together to try to win an NFC championship. There is a difference in mentality here.
Well, here's the problem, though, because you can't really put apples to oranges because, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I look and say, you guys go out and you get yourselves a good running back in Saquon, where you already have two really good wide receivers. You already have an established offensive line. Yes, you're losing your center, Kelsey and things and having to upgrade. But when I look at the Dallas Cowboys, where we've got CeeDee Lamb, where you guys will say he's really a slot receiver and not really a game changer.
Yes.
Okay. And we bring back Zeke Elliott. So you're looking at this and saying the Cowboys don't have the weaponry anywhere close to what Jalen Hurts has. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, completely.
So if Dak fails with inferior talent, okay, that's bad. But you look at it and say he only had one really good receiver. If Jalen Hurts having Saquon, having the offensive line, having Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Goddard,
there is big pressure there.
If he fails, and looking to say you had everything and you failed.
It is $180 million offense.
Yeah.
Well, I get it. The question wasn't whether there's not pressure on Jalen Hurts. It's who's under the most pressure. I just was under the assumption that winning is what we're talking about because you play the game to win the game. You play it to go and chase the rings. And what Mark is saying is, I think, the effects of being a loser team for 30 years, where he's already building in the excuses of losing. See, he's already talking about, well, we don't have this, and we have Zeke, and we have CeeDee Lamb. It's like built-in excuse after excuse after excuse.
Dak Prescott saying, hold it. Are you literally saying that we're not handicapped by having Zeke Elliott versus a Saquon?
What I'm saying to you is, in the totality of it, you're using an off-ramp already.
Our
getting ready for the season, we're going to train, and you're already off-ramp. But But that's your team's fault.
We're
What
gonna
about
have
the years?
two-
And then what about the years that Dak had good players and a good offense? He still didn't win. When you had Kellen Moore, when you
In
got rid of
comparison
Kellen Moore,
let's be clear here. Hold it. Let's be clear here. Dak has never had the amount of talent that Jalen Hurts has had out there,
dude,
bro.
I disagree with that.
Never,
100%.
never, not at one time.
I'm sorry,
had
that's just
offensive
not
linemen
true.
and a
Early
good
in his
running
career,
back, but then not having the great receivers or tight
you
end.
had Zeke, you had the one you had Maury Cooper, Cedric Wilson, you had
Cedric
CeeDee Lamb
Wilson
was a rookie.
Oh, wait a minute.
You
A
had
wide
Gallup
receiver
before.
gotten 600 yards in one
let me
season.
tell you something.
That's a great
Were you
wide
not-
receiver.
How many
And
touchdowns?
Giesick was there
How
too.
many touchdowns
Come on.
did Dak Prescott throw that year? 37
now,
touchdowns.
so
he was
the
a number.
question
Wait.
is, though,
He was
hold
a
it.
number 1 seed, and you went into the playoffs
And
and
we
you lost again. So every time,
And
you
you
go
should
to
have been a
playoffs,
number 1
you
seed.
lose, and you're
You should have
saying,
been a number 1 seed, and you lost 6 of 7.
yes, but Mark, we
So how is that
take
any different?
responsibility for our actions, and we fire the coaches, and we go out and we try to fix it.
Well,
You're
I can
built- you have a
congratulate
build-
you on.
You already
I can
listen. You've already
congratulate
made.
you on your front
You've
office.
you've already come on here before camp has even started, and you've made excuses on why you're going to lose and why it's not Dak Prescott's fault. We haven't even played one game, and you're already making excuses.
I'm going to say, if we do win, if we are a 12-win season, if we are winning the division, it's not by anything that the Cowboys up front office and people did, because they're not bringing in the people to do it. You'd have to actually give your quarterback credit, because he's actually making making lemonade out of lemons. You can't look at this and say it's like Brock Purdy, who's got Ayuk and Deebo Samuels and Kittle and having Christian McCaffrey and a great offensive line. These things are not equal. You guys admit, and we can all admit that the Dallas Cowboys have done absolutely nothing from last year's team to make themselves in a better position to win and go further than last year.
That's not a good enough excuse anymore.
No, it's not.
It's not a good enough excuse anymore.
You can't.
It's been an excuse for 9 years with Dak Prescott.
I can't.
Dude,
okay, well, I tell you what,
you've already told everybody. You've already told everybody that when Dallas chokes again this year, you've already told us all we can put this video on in January, and we're all going to see that the excuses were being made are going to be the same.
Okay, and if your team does not win the Super Bowl, then what are you going to say?
I'm going to say we better
Because
get better. We screwed up.
That's what you're saying, that your team is ready to win the Super Bowl. You've gone out there. You've gotten great personnel. You know, you got Saquon and added to them. You got the boy Wonder.
You're putting
call plays. You right now are the Super Bowl favorite. Everybody.
All I said was that my team is accountable to try to win. We're trying to win. If we don't win, I will say they screwed up. But right now, at least we're trying to win.
I'm already telling you.
At least we're
screwed up
trying.
with Jerry Jones.
Yeah, you're already making excuses.
There it is right there. Dak had Cooper, Cobb, Zeke, and Witten.
Jason Witten was a shell of himself on the way out, okay? Randall Cobb, believe it or not, Randall Cobb. Now, this is where you were so wrong last week, and you said that Dak Prescott doesn't elevate anybody with him. Randall Cobb had a 1,200-yard season, then an 800, a 600, a 400, and a 388 when they released him from Green Bay. He comes to Dallas, and now all of a sudden we're saying that he's a great receiver. With Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, he elevated to 865 yards, got a $27 million two-year contract from the Texans, and immediately went back down to 440 yards.
So you're saying Dak Prescott elevates players? That
was a great talent, because with Aaron Rodgers, he was down to 388 yards.
So you're saying you're saying that Dak Prescott elevates players. That's what you're saying?
Actually, yes. Take a look at
then what happened versus Green Bay? Why didn't he elevate anybody?
You can only elevate as far as you can.
Okay.
He still had 405 yards in the game and 2 interceptions. Now, you can go through and say that's a bump, but here's what's funny.
So here it is.
No. Let's take
Cowboys. If the Cowboys lose, these are all excuses. If they win, it's because Dak elevated everybody.
No, but hold on for a second.
Get the hell out of here with all that crap.
No, one point before Dan asked this question. So let's take Dak Prescott throws 3 TDs, 2 interceptions, 405 yards. They score 35 points, right? Trevor Lawrence throws 5 interceptions, throws 5 TDs. They score 31 points, and they win. So does that make Trevor Lawrence a great quarterback? And
There's
Dak
not
sucks?
some expectations in Jacksonville.
Well, I mean, wait a second. How did
Well,
those
dude got $55 million a year?
In what situation did those touchdowns come? Did they come in the second quarter, or did they come with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter? I think
Trevor Lawrence,
Trevor
Lawrence, all of them came after the first quarter because he threw 5 interceptions in the first quarter.
They were down 30-something, right? I mean,
They
I
were
forget
down
the amount they were down.
27-0. And
Well,
their
he
defense
came back and won.
Their defense
Why didn't Dak Prescott
dug in and
come
only
back
gave up 3 more points the rest of the game.
Man,
everybody's
excuse, everybody's fault but Dak's. Oh,
I mean,
Okay.
here. Let's go to Jalen. I got a question. Mark, I'm going to ask you this one first, and then I'm going to follow up with Philly.500 on this. We all know last year was not a very good year at the end of the season for Jalen Hurts. By the way, Jalen Hurts didn't play. He didn't suck. It just wasn't, and it seemed a little bumpy. A lot of turnovers. There were fumbles, the offense, what have you. And they took the read option away and the RPO away a lot last year. My question to you is, does Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts need his legs to be an elite quarterback in the NFL? Because last year, when the legs were kind of taken from him, when a lot of executives said he was injured, he even had a brace on at times. When his legs were taken from him, he didn't look elite. Okay? And now when they just came out with the top 10 quarterbacks, they don't even have him in it. They don't even have him in. Jeremy Fowler doesn't even have him in the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC. So does Hurts need to have his legs to be an elite quarterback in this league? Because if you take one of them away, it seems he's not the same player he was in 22. First you.
Yes, he does. Definitely does. That's part of the game because, and I'll even say with Dak Prescott, when you move the pocket, when you get him outside, it's a hell of a lot easier than being in that pocket because now that cornerback is worried. Are you going to run the football or are you going to go ahead and throw the ball? And so he's literally put onto an island. And Hurts is so dynamic and so good at running. I'm praising him that you have to worry about him taking it to the house. If you take it away from him in the same way when you look at what happened with RG3 was never a great pocket passer. But because he could get outside and everybody's worrying about him running, they're leaving the receivers over. It's just an easy, pitch and catch. The receivers got all kinds of space because he's left wide open.
And Greg Cosell came out this week, who breaks down all these quarterbacks and says that Jalen Hurts is not really a good progression reader when it comes to sitting in the pocket. Now, I say this to you, though. That can be worked with. You can get better. Brady says you can get better with arm strength and get better on reading defenses.
Yes,
see, I think the Eagles have jumped they've jumped levels on developing him by not developing the 22 Hurts, and they want him to be a pocket passer because if they take his legs away, in my opinion, I don't think he's an elite quarterback. If they keep that intact and they run him, do you know what he ran? A Philly.500. I'm going to go over to him now, Mark, okay? You know what they ran him? He had 165 carries. He averaged about 12 carries a game. You add another 24 because he missed those 2 with the shoulder injury. He was on pace for like 195 carries that year. Those 195 carries made that guy so elite on 3rd and long. I kept doing this every game. He's going to get this. He's going to get this. He's going to get the first down. Last year, I never said that one time. I thought every time he was in 3rd and long, because they were having him drop back, it was a 50-50 proposition. So I'll ask you, does Hurts need to have his legs for him to be considered an elite quarterback?
Let me say this. Keith Saunders, man, congratulations. Keep up the good work, man. I'll say this about I'll say it. I think that one, if you have a talent and you have an ability, I think it's criminal not to use it. So if he has legs and that's what he does well, I think to take it completely out of the game is bad. Now, I also think Jalen Hurts is still developing as a passer. So I think he can become a pure pocket passer. I do believe that. And I think that when we talk about last year, we also need to think about all those games where he couldn't run because he was hurt. He had a one leg. I remember the Cowboys game.
Point, though, then
there you go.
But what happened? They were 10-1, but they were 10-1, and a lot of those games they won, he pulled out at in the fourth quarter.
But you would even agree then? Would you not agree though that if you say he was hurt, he wasn't the same quarterback as in 22 because he couldn't rely on his wheels.
Not with his legs. I think it's fair to say he wasn't as good as he was the year before. That's fair. But he still had a 10-1 record. And let me tell you, I will never forget the Cowboy game, the first game, where he couldn't even walk off the field. And what did he do? He stayed in a pocket because he couldn't run, and he lit the Dallas Cowboys up in that second and third quarter. So to me, I think Jalen Hurts has the ability to be more than just a guy that has to use his legs. I think he's still developing, and he still needs to use them. And I think it's criminal if you have a coach who doesn't want to use it at all. So I look at it like, currently he needs his legs, but I don't think in the long run it necessarily has to stay that way.
Can I toss him a bone?
Go ahead.
Because I think about, to me, one of the best athletic quarterbacks out there, that it's a damn shame that he got screwed up with not having a real offensive coordinator, and that was Randall Cunningham. Seeing him when he went with the Minnesota Vikings, how he developed into an incredible pocket
with Brian Billick.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Brian Billick was his OC under Dennis Green,
right?
And that's how Brian Billick got that Baltimore Ravens job.
Mm-hmm.
And when you watch the way he played up there, he was fantastic.
Yeah, and that's where you wish that he had that kind of coaching on early in his career. But I don't know that Jalen Hurts
had it early, but he lost it when his quarterback coach died. But he had a couple good years. He had some good years throwing the ball to Randall, you know.
He absolutely did. Okay. Philly, your biggest concern going into training camp in 6 days?
Edge rusher. I still want to see these edge rushers and how that they're going to develop. Because I feel like with Reddick gone, that's a legitimate concern. You know what I mean?
Bro, Philly, Lab's the same shit every time, like Skip Bayless.
I'll bet 100. Hey, listen, if your arguments work, then use them. I mean, if we're having the same discussion, why would I not put up new arguments? It's so stupid. It's like, hey, I got a brand new house I'm living in, but why are you living in that house every day? Stupid. Shit. That's like a stupid comment.
Okay.
Greetings from Norway. Dingbat Nation, we rise. All right, hey. All right, Philly. So yours is edge rusher. Mark, for you, what is your biggest concern going into training camp?
The big man in the middle, man. Defensive line, man. I'm still concerned. Mozzie, of course, had shoulder surgery, so he hasn't been able to work out. And I like a lot of beef in the middle. And Keith Sanders, congratulations on losing the 10 pounds. You know, they want me in here. They need me in here, bro.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this to you about, what Mozzie needs? Footwork. He needs a class over there with the Fred Astaire dance class.
There you go.
Something like that. Because, your boy, he moves like a Philly, this is how this guy plays defensive tackle. Like he's like Herman Munster. This is
come on, man. Look, it was just his rookie year, man. And he hurt his shoulder at Thanksgiving. Come on. Take it easy.
Better be more worried about holdouts than players.
Oh, you're hoping for the holdouts, man.
I don't care.
Hoping that we implode, man.
I just hope you sign everybody. Just sign them, pay them the most money you can. And just have a great cap space going forward. It'd be great.
Philly, Who has a better coordinator, Vic Fangio or the Cowboys and Mike Zimmer?
I like Vic Fangio over Zimmer. I'm not super high, so I'll go Vic Fangio.
What about you, Mark?
I'll take Zimmer, actually. I think the advantage that Zimmer has is a relationship with the Joneses, which may make him easier to get along with as far as working with the organization. And quite frankly, you may be looking at him getting an audition to be head coach, in which case Jerry Jones will be working with him closely.
Let me tell you what Dave Wannstedt said yesterday on the program here, a guy who owns 3 Super Bowl rings. He said about both guys, there's one thing that both organizations are going to like or not like, is that when these guys talk, they don't really give a shit if you like what they're saying or you don't like what they're saying, because just look at what those Miami guys did. Those Miami guys were belly aching and bitching and crying about Vic Fangio. They broke a sack record down there, and they were doing pretty good until they ended up getting hurt. And I asked him bringing up the Philadelphia Philly.500. I go, what do you think he brings? He goes, well, I'll just tell you this. There's going to be a no shit kind of scenario there, and you better buckle it up here. Mark made Viv that Zeke was better than Barkley.
I did not. That's a liar there.
He also said that Parsons was LT. So,
no, he didn't.
What it is.
He can't say no. He didn't.
I said he's done a few things like LT starting out his career. Numbers wise.
Yeah, he said he's
what,
LT.
He plays edge.
Yeah, there you go.
Kiss my ass.
Kiss my ass.
Name me one thing that guy does better than Lawrence Taylor.
I'll tell you what, man. Are you going to really show up to Cowboys training camp? Are you really going to show up, or are you going to leave me holding the bag?
I go there almost every year to go visit and see Steven.
Okay.
By the way, I get invited there.
Okay. Yeah, let me be a fly on the wall with that one. So let me smack Steve.
No, that's why I know T. Higgins is being kicked around the Cowboy complex right now. I'll tell you what, Philly, if they get T. Higgins and they have CeeDee Lamb on the other side, and their offensive line is not bad. They're pretty good in the middle, especially at the guard position. That could look like something, and
no chance.
You don't really have anybody to guard them on your defense.
But it won't happen. They can't even sign their own players. They're not going to go out and trade for a guy.
Well, I tell you what,
I know for sure.
Here's what I will say, because there's rumors of, like I said, Michael Thomas and Justin Simmons coming in for workouts on Friday. Now, whether or not that happens, I don't know. But I think right now, if I gauged Cowboy fans as where we've been this year, Cowboy fans are really pissed. And the Joneses need to do something to kind of turn that narrative around as we get into training camp. And all of a sudden, if the Cowboys were to pull off something like that, all of a sudden, that is a major buzz. That changes the narrative all the way around. And also, that would truly help the team. Because, see, the thing about Mike McCarthy is Mike McCarthy likes to spread the ball around. He likes to have a lot of different weapons and things. And if they do have a T. Higgins out there, oh, my God, they're going to be able to spread out the field where that offensive line is not going to have to hold up as long, and it's going to make it more effective.
The Cowboys, Cowboys and Ayuk wouldn't work because they're not going to trade inside the conference. That's why T. Higgins is more of the target, because the Bengals would trade out of the conference. They don't want to trade.
What are they asking for?
City. You don't want Kansas City, Philly, getting a hold of T. Higgins.
What are they asking for, though?
I don't know that yet. I haven't.
But yeah, they're kicking it around. But I'd give up a first for that. But if you're talking about blowing it up,
like they did Devontae, because remember, right now he signs the he's still under the 5th-year option. No, wait, I don't know. He wasn't a first rounder, so they gave him the franchise tag. He signed that. So he's got 14 something right now, or 15 something, or 18 something. I don't know what that number exactly is, but that's where he is. So they would give him 1 year to be able to restructure a contract and work something, I don't know, like they did with Devontae Smith, because they're not going to pay him more than what they're paying CeeDee Lamb if they drop $36 million on CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's not Justin Jefferson. They're like,
he's going to want 20. He's going to want 20 million probably.
Well, I think he would want 25. Okay, here's the thing. Hold on. He's already on the franchise tag for this year, which is $21 million.
You could theoretically drop him on the tag again next year too.
Right, you could, which would be probably about 27 or so. But if you're saying we're going all in, what the fuck? This is an all-in move to try and see if you can win it all. And
Well,
then, I will say this much. If you do that, then Dak Prescott does not have any excuses whatsoever, because now you've got an up-and-coming
He
tight end.
shouldn't have any now.
Yep. You got two really good wide receivers and a third that is actually not bad. You've got a young offensive line. You don't have a great running back, but I would take that in a heartbeat.
How about this, Philly? Two last ones here for you here, okay? Here it is. When I look at our Eagle defensive linebackers and I look at the linebacking core, how come I look at it like this? I don't see any difference from the first team and second team, which usually means you don't have no team. I mean, is that not a major concern going into this, especially when you've got to take on early tight ends and quarterbacks in the beginning of the season? Look at this here. And again, it's not about your offense here. I mean, Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur are going to be going against that defense that is untested, unproven, what have you. You have potential and you have projections on that defense. Then you got to take on the Falcons. Kyle Pitts is pretty good. What linebacker do we have that's going to cover him? The Saints, I don't think they're very good. The Bucs do have Mike Evans. And then after the bye, you've got that Browns team with that tight end they have there, Naku. And then you also have Chubb. And you also have, I don't think Judy's anybody, but I do think the other guy on the other side, Amari Cooper, is pretty good. 1,000-yard receiver a year ago. It's not spectacular. And it comes down to the quarterback. My problem, again, is going to be on that side of the football for you guys. I mean, you've got a lot of hope. It's just hope.
It's July, Sills. Every team has hope right now. Hope and projection.
When I look at Kansas City or I look at Baltimore and I look at some of these other teams, I don't have as many question marks on their defense. Maybe a little bit on.
Well, I think it's fair. I mean, I think it's fair to say that there's question marks on defense. I have question marks at the edge. I have question marks about some of the linebackers. I think that's fair. Who's going to stand out? I still think Devin White was an extreme upgrade for that position. I think for the Eagles to get him, he's an extreme upgrade from what they had 1 year ago. And what I would really like them to do is take guys like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Cooper DeJean, and find ways to use them against tight ends and stuff in certain situations. But yeah, I mean, tight end, I mean, a linebacker is it is a legitimate concern. I think that's fair to say. It definitely is. Who's going to step up? We're going to see. But I do think Devin White was a good signing for the Eagles.
The Higgins conversation is real, and I got that from somebody at at Valley Ranch. So,
I am.
You mean the star?
99.9999% sure Dallas will not do anything to get Higgins.
You're gonna have to give up equity for him for sure, because they're not going to give him away for free.
Won't happen.
That'd be a first-round pick, and then maybe a third. But then again, I don't know, because you know why some of these guys have been dealt for less. I mean, Stephon Diggs was dealt for less. And let's not forget something about Higgins. He's not a one. The guy in that building in Cincinnati is Jamar Chase. He's a one. So you don't have that distinction. It's not like trading A.J. Brown.
And
you can't tell Higgins that, though. He signed a franchise
about it too,
you think he's a $35 million guy?
Not me personally, but if you sign him to a franchise tag, then that's what are they saying? That's what they're saying.
It's
to
21
me, if you're signing
million.
A franchise tag, you're
fair.
saying that.
But
it's fair.
here's what. Let me add to this real quick. If you're Cincinnati, you know that after tagging him this year, you're not going to tag him again next year.
Here's the history.
He's going to go. So you look at
the
it.
History, Mark. The history of Cincinnati. Anybody they've ever tagged, they've never brought back the next year.
Right. So in which case, you may look at this and say, if I can get a second, or if I can get a couple of thirds or something for a guy I'm going to lose, I'm better off getting that now than him just walking after I pay him the 21.
I think Cincinnati's more likely to let him walk and keep him one more year and try to win this year than
that's one of the problems with the Cowboys is they always hold on to guys too long till there's no value in them. Smart teams will end up saying, okay, this guy's going downhill. New England was famous for it. They trade a guy who's a Pro Bowler right after that, get a pick from the Cleveland Browns and get somebody else.
Or player of the year like Stephon Gilmore. He was an NFL Defensive Player of the Year. They moved him to Carolina. All right, last one. Mark, is there a can't move you think the Cowboys will make that significant for the upcoming 24 season? And I'll ask you the same question on the Eagle one. here, Philly. Go ahead, Mark.
The Cowboys always do aging veteran signings in training camp. And Joseph is one on the defensive line that's been kind of rumored and thought that would be signing. I think they may. I think they've been playing the whole Stephon Gilmore that they do want to bring him back, but they didn't want to sign him to a 2-year deal. And I think they're just kind of rolling the dice and letting it kind of marinate, and hopefully he ends up getting desperate and not having a team and end up re-signing him.
You know, they've been kicking the tires on Jeffrey Simmons in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Okay. They've been kicking the tires on that because Tennessee wants to revamp the football team, and they're looking for draft picks to try to revamp that team to the best that they can. But again, there's a brand new head coach in there. So Jeffrey Simmons, the Eagles don't need that position. Obviously, the last 2 years, Philly, they've gone first-round draft picks at both tackle positions. So, but Simmons would be a massive upgrade to the Dallas Cowboys. You put that guy in the middle next to Dexter, and you have Mike on the other side. That puts you in the category in the front four next to the New York Giants. How about you, Philly? Do you think that the Eagles have an in-camp move yet to be made?
I think the Eagles are going to trade Bradbury. I believe he will go. I just think they're going to – how he's going to play it out as good as he can. I expect camp to start. They're going to build his equity up. They're going to talk about how good he looks, and they're going to try to trade him. Now, I think there's a couple targets, and I think it's going to depend on how the camp is going, how things are looking at certain positions. I think safety is a position you got to watch for. If they look at a guy like what's his face, Justin Simmons, if they look at him and they say, you know, we could use an upgrade there, they could do something like that. I also
played for Vic.
Yeah, I also think edge rusher. Don't be surprised if they're not liking what they're seeing maybe early by Nolan Smith or Huff. Don't be surprised a guy like Judon, they go and they try to pull a move or something like that for. Yeah, out of New England. So, like, I think there's moves to be made, but Howie is usually pretty good at kind of waiting, seeing what he needs, and then reacting off of that. And I think he'll do something because that's just his track record. I just, you know, what it is, we'll see.
But you, Mark, I mean, you know, you think there's going to be something there where you're looking at there again in camp, like you said, they're always looking at aging veterans. So it's going to be somebody probably more in the defensive tackle position. You don't think it'd be another wideout, or that they wouldn't be looking at a guy like Kareem Hunt?
They may, but like I said, there's the rumors out about Michael Thomas, and
don't you think they need somebody like a Kareem Hunt or a Cam Akers or something like that?
They definitely do, but will they? I don't know. I'm not even sure what the Cowboys are doing. I wish I knew, but it makes no sense whatsoever that they pretty much have just stand pat. So
all right,
nothing would surprise me.
You guys have been absolutely great today. A lot of intel. Now, I'll leave this first with you. One last parting shot towards Philly.500. What's your biggest bitch about Philly.500?
My biggest bitch?
Yeah.
Oh, that he never shows up.
Let me write it down. Never shows up.
Write it down. Write down.
Okay, where were you last week?
I was with my daughter on her birthday.
Oh.
Well, wait a minute. You can't give me the maple syrup bullshit up there in Vermont and tell me about that stuff and then give him shit about it.
I missed one. So wait a minute. We got a birthday. We got a graduation.
You missed one what? You missed one what?
I missed one show.
Well, I mean, you act like I've written a contract here and I'm not showing up for work.
Literally without having videos saying Mark Holmes is scared. I literally
You were literally in a safe house.
Okay.
We all know that was an FBI safe house.
He did say, okay, Philly, what is your biggest complaint about Mark Holmes?
That Mark can't accept responsibility for Dak Prescott. He makes excuses after excuses instead of speaking the truth.
Okay. I hear you.
That's it.
That's it?
That's it. Nice and simple.
You two
it's
guys.
Not that I will take out the trash or do the laundry or I leave my dishes
that's your wife's beef.
How many videos a week do you think you do on Dak?
Oh God.
Every video he does is on Dak.
Well,
Even
listen,
if it's not about Dak, it turns
about
into a
the
Dak
backup
video by
kicker?
the end.
Shit, you roll with what's hot. Okay, everybody else is talking about him. Why can't I?
It doesn't matter what it is.
Oh,
Lordy. Dude, like aliens could show up on the White House lawn, and by the end of the video, it's about Dak Prescott. Somehow, some way. We all know.
Oh,
hey,
boy.
Mark, tell folks how they can find you, please.
Every Wednesday here on the Dan Salio Show at 3:30. But if they want to get some real content from me, it's JAKIB Sports Report on YouTube, as well as Facebook, as well as Twitter, and anywhere else. Just look up JOBU, JOBU Sports Report.
And you, Philly.500.
Mark isn't just a fanboy of Dak Prescott. He's the president of the fan club. Let's face it.
Oh,
just type in Philly.500.
Wait a minute, Mark. You mean like the Sierra fan club, man? This guy's like one of those dudes.
Yeah,
no, it's not.
Like the Taylor Swift kind of guy. He's like one
no,
of them
it's not like that.
Oh, so he's a Dacky.
Oh yeah.
He's
I think Mark would rather have Dak Prescott than the Cowboys win.
Are you a Dacky?
I'm not a Dacky. I didn't even heard that before.
So you're now officially a Dacky.
A Dacky. Okay. All right. Well, we're just gonna have to go win the whole fucking thing. That's all we.
That ain't gonna happen. My most anticipated video that I'm waiting for one day is the day that Dak Prescott leaves Dallas. I cannot wait to watch him.
It'll probably end up being your biggest video, like me falling out of the chair.
I think it's going to be the greatest thing. I'm going to do like a reaction video, a blind reaction video to it, because it's going to be epic. He's going to be so heartbroken. He don't care. He's already made excuses for Dak for the playoff games that he's going to lose this year. So, I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
All right, guys. Great as always. Make sure you check out their fabulous websites. I can't thank both of you enough, especially you, Mark. Again, you come in here and you get two dudes coming off the top rope on you. So we appreciate it.
I was nice today.
You actually were. Nice. He was. You know what? I thought
very
Philly,
nice and tempered.
You know why? I thought Philly because, some of the things, Mark, that happened this past weekend had a little bit of pride in him and didn't want to go a little nuts. Look at your face. Don't go there. I'm just saying he had a little bit of American pride in him because, he's a little concerned about some,
Okay.
All right. No. We're good. There it is. Look at him. All right, guys.
All right, let's roll. Fight. Let's do it.
Fight. There they go, man. Absolutely fantastic. Both those men, man. Xander Krause is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Absolutely great stuff. Please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.